Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the SmoovePlayz podcast. It's Monday, which means we got Monday Night Football for the first time this year. And I mean, Dean, how do we follow up that Sunday slate and Sunday Night Football?
I don't know if they're going to be able to top that Sunday night football game because that was maybe the greatest opening Sunday night football game in the history of opening Sunday night football games.
Dude, nah, no cap. I felt like I was watching that game. Like, watching that game felt like the game, it felt like I was watching them, like the Bills and the Ravens play to go to the Super Bowl. That game was insane.
It
And
was.
the way that it ended was just, I mean, pure cinema. NFL scriptwriters couldn't have wrote it any better.
Yeah, those script writers are great at doing their job.
Yeah, we're all if week one's any indication of how the NFL season, and that wasn't even like that was definitely the best game of the week, but there was a lot of other really good games throughout week one. So if week one's any indication, the NFL season is gonna be juicy this season.
It should be. Hopefully tonight, all right, we get to close out the week 1 slate. Let's hope it's juicy.
I mean, I'm hoping it's a banger. We got the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field, so Minnesota on the road. Big headlines for this one, though. I mean, we got some new faces that we got to recognize. Biggest one, I think, you got to start in Chicago with who I think was the most sought after head coach hire for the entire NFL, Ben Johnson, coming from Detroit, where last season Detroit had probably the most overpowered offense in the NFL. I One of the best offenses I've seen in a while. And now he's down in Chicago with Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, DeAndre Swift is still there, and Roma Dunze first round. They got some guys. I mean, what do you think Ben Johnson being in Chicago can do for this Chicago Bears team?
Well, one, it brings a little bit of hype around the Chicago Bears for the first time in a while, other than I guess Caleb Williams, but like no one really expected them to be good. I think people expect the Bears to potentially be a playoff team if they play to their ceiling. And I think Ben Johnson, you can see by the personnel of this team, he's kind of trying to build it how Detroit was. They drafted Colson Loveland high, so they got the two tight ends. They have a good offensive line, so they're going to try to run the ball. But the biggest thing I want to see is Caleb Williams led the league in sacks last year and getting sacked because he holds on to the ball very, very long. And I want to see if this Ben Johnson offense can open things up to where he can just, 1-2, make a read, get the ball out, and just see if Caleb Williams can take that next step because he's going to be the key to this whole operation, really.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Caleb Williams definitely needs to take that next step. I mean, I honestly I don't know if Caleb Williams has any excuses year two. I know it's year two, a new system, but I really don't think there's any excuses. He had a good supporting cast last year. You could make the argument, all right, the coaching wasn't the best, but now he's got a guy as a head coach that was one of the best offensive minds in the NFL last season with just as good a talent as he had last season. And I mean, look, this team I think has insane potential because I'm not saying that they're better than the Detroit Lions last season in terms of talent, but it like you said, it kind of replicates what they had, and some of the guys' potential is maybe a little bit higher than what the potential was for some of these guys that they had in Detroit. Like Caleb Williams' potential, in my opinion, is higher than what Jared Goff's is, and at least at the quarterback position, just based on draft experts and going through the draft process. That's kind of like the expectation of what like he's going to be better than Jared Goff. So I think that this Bears team definitely has a lot of hype. I like the Ben Johnson signing, and like I said, there's I don't think there's any excuse for Caleb Williams. This team is going to be good.
Yeah, I just one more note to piggyback on what you said about Jared Goff. I think he was great at just Ben Johnson just made it simple, make a read like it was schemed to where all he had to do was one read, he's open, throw the ball accurate, right? Then Jared Goff, if they can do that with Caleb Williams, I think it'll just make things a lot easier for him. And I guess we'll see how it works out here tonight.
Yeah, definitely need to see that snap to throw release time go down. Also, one more thing. I know you had one more thing. I got one more thing. I mean, for Ben Johnson, did we see Detroit yesterday in week 1, like what their offense looks like without Ben Johnson. So maybe Ben Johnson really is like the answer. So
I guess.
if that's like I said, if that's the case, if he really makes that much a difference, this Chicago offense could be one of the best NFL offenses.
Yeah, I agree.
And then our other note that we got is gonna be the quarterback position in Minnesota. Sam Darnold, career resurgence, had a 1 year deal in Minnesota, played like an MVP at times and went and got a bag. Now he's in Seattle and Minnesota. We're going to be seeing this is the first season that we're really seeing JJ McCarthy as the guy. They drafted him a year ago in the first round. He sat a year because of injury, and now it's his team. He's got to step up, pick up where Sam Darnold left off. He's got a great offensive coach himself and O'Connell. And I mean, this Minnesota team with him throwing to guys like Justin Jefferson and Addison, who unfortunately for this game, Addison's going to be suspended. He's got a 3 game suspension with the NFL. I mean, what is JJ McCarthy? What are your expectations for JJ McCarthy this season?
Well, I expect him to. I don't know, honestly, because he hasn't. He was hurt all last year, so I'm interested to see what he does because he has weapons, but also this is his rookie season. Um, and all in playing in a playing sense, this is his rookie season. So I'm excited to see what he does. He's got what a top two wide receiver, other
Yeah,
Jamar
I
Chase and
mean, I think
Dickinson.
it's pretty
Top
it's
two.
pretty undisputed. I think that he's a top two right behind Jamar Chase.
Yeah, exactly. So he's got that. I'm interested to see if this team's going to be able to run the ball effectively because I don't love Aaron Jones at his age. Um, I do like Jordan Mason. I think maybe he can be an explosive option, but I think they need to run the ball effectively just to make McCarthy's job even easier.
Yeah, and I like how you pointed out, this is kind of like McCarthy's rookie year, but this isn't the first time that we've seen, a first round guy get drafted, sit a year, whether it's to injury or just coach decision. You know, that year off allows them to kind of take their time, get acclimated in the offense, learn the system, and then they show up and guys like Patrick Mahomes, I'm not saying McCarthy's going to be Patrick Mahomes, but we saw Patrick Mahomes how that benefited him because he came in his rookie year and already knew the offense basically.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. McCarthy's been in this offense for a year already.
He's been studying the offense
Yeah.
for a year. And so I think that McCarthy and this Minnesota team, their expectation is that they're going to be right where they were last year, top of the NFC in terms of record, win-loss record. So only time will tell. It's a long season. It's just week 1. And so let's talk about this week 1 matchup. Minnesota going to Soldier Field. What does Minnesota need to do, in your opinion, to win this game?
Well, kind of like I already said, I think they need to run the ball effectively. I think if they go in there and the Bears are able to stack the box and stop the run and then force McCarthy into third and longs and this Vikings offense into third and longs, if they can run the ball well on first and second down, I think that'll make his job easier. I'm not saying I'm not a believer in JJ McCarthy, but like I said before, we haven't seen anything. So I want to see if he can make throws down the field. I want to see effectively. Also, Jordan Addison's out, like you said, and so there it's Jefferson, Thielen, and Jalen Naylor, and that's pretty much it. And that's why they made that Thielen trade because they need
Yeah.
another weapon. I know they have Hawkinson as well, but I like looking at this Bears depth chart. I like the Bears defense. I think it's going to be a tough matchup for Minnesota, but if they can run the ball effectively, I think that they'll be okay. I think they need to run the ball. I think that's their biggest key tonight, in my opinion.
Yeah, I hear you, and I think that a big thing for Minnesota if they're going to win this game is going to be you got to, like you said, I think establishing a run. No matter honestly, this is something that every team should be able to do is establish the run. But when you got a guy like Justin Jefferson, you got to get him as many opportunities as you can. I mean, you got to keep your rookie quarterback. You got to keep him upright as much as you can. He's a pretty mobile guy, and so he can get out, extend plays if he needs to. But ideally, you want to limit that and stay within your offense as much as possible, and rely on him getting the ball to your playmakers like Justin Jefferson. So biggest thing is going to be keeping him upright, and then on the defensive side for Minnesota, I mean, look. They need to get after Caleb Williams. You mentioned how Caleb Williams was the most sacked quarterback in the NFL last year earlier, and I think a biggest thing is going to be trying to contain him, not letting him, get outside the tackle box. And if you can keep him inside the tackle box, I think that's where he's going to be kind of, exposed in a sense because he in the past season we saw him just panic, like you mentioned, holding on to the ball and just drifting back into the pocket. He didn't step up into the pocket a whole lot. So containing Caleb Williams, not letting him get outside the tackle box, I think defensively needs to be the game plan if you're the Minnesota Vikings.
I agree with you there. And we know with Brian Flores, they're going to blitz. He's one of the higher blitz rates in the league. So they're going to blitz. They're going to have Williams under pressure. They need to have good coverage on the outside. They're probably going to be one-on-one coverage a lot if they're
Yeah.
blitzing a lot. We'll see what happens with that.
All right, and then if we're looking at the Chicago Bears, I mean, we laid the blueprint out for Minnesota, so what do the Bears need to do? What's the recipe for the Bears to win at home?
I think the Bears need to run this Ben Johnson offense, honestly. I want to see if they can do what I said earlier, get Caleb Williams, one read, guy open, make a throw. And also, I know it's easy to say this, every team needs to run the ball, but DeAndre Swift, I'm interested to see what happens in this backfield because DeAndre Swift has not been the best running back one, like main guy, workhorse back. So that's why they drafted a guy like Kyle. Believe it's Monungai, the rookie from Rutgers. I'm interested to see if he gets in tonight because Roshan Johnson's hurt, and Ben Johnson likes platooning these running backs, or it seems like it at least. So I think they need to run that Ben Johnson offense. And for this defense, you got to have McCarthy under pressure. You got a guy like Montez Sweat, you got Grady Jarrett on that D line. They've made acquisitions like Tremaine Edmonds. They got Jalen Johnson, Kevin Byard back there in the secondary. Like this defense has got some names. So they need to just have McCarthy under pressure and really just force him. I think they just need to have him under pressure. If they can get 3+ sacks tonight on JJ McCarthy, I think this Bears defense is going to be looking good.
Yeah, I agree with the defense because I mean, similar to Minnesota, I think the blueprint for Chicago's defense is going to be getting after JJ McCarthy and making him uncomfortable. All right. I mean, if they can get to anytime you have a young quarterback in the NFL making his first granted he played in the preseason, making his first NFL regular season start, his first full game of action, like the sooner they need to get to him early. The sooner you can make him uncomfortable and make him feel your defense, the better. Like it's just going to make everybody's job on that defense that much easier. And then offensively, I mean, Chicago Bears went out and got Ben Johnson for a reason. I think that the recipe is super simple for the offense. I mean, we've seen, granted, this is the preseason. We've seen how many this Chicago Bears team has scored a lot of points in the preseason. I think they need to kind of continue with that and just rely on the Ben Johnson system, utilize the guys that they got to make plays like DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. You mentioned DeAndre Swift. I mean, the expectation for DeAndre Swift is that he's going to assume like that Jahmyr Gibbs role. And so that's what's going to need to happen. They just need to stay within their system, and offensively, they're going to be just fine. I think that this Chicago Bears team has the potential to score 30 plus points in this game.
Yeah, I agree with you there. The Lions in both matchups with Brian Flores last season scored 30 plus. I know it's different personnel, but Ben Johnson has had success against the Brian Flores defense. Are there any names, kind of under the radar names tonight on the Bears that you want to see, like potentially just want to see play? Because there's one guy that I'm interested in seeing in this system.
Well, I mean, I know you mentioned Colson Loveland, the big tight end that they drafted out of Michigan. I do want to see if how that looks in a two like with Cole Kmet, if they are going to utilize these two tight ends sets, like you said. So I'd probably say uh, Colson Loveland is a big name, but then they got another rookie that they drafted, and Luther Burden, who
Yeah.
at one point was like an undisputed, he's the best wide receiver in the class, and then he had a down year, and he kind of slid down the draft boards, but I think Luther Burden still has a lot to prove. Granted, he couldn't decide on a number to pick that he wanted to be this year. I think that's whatever. Luther Burden has a lot of talent. He's a guy that you just got to get the ball in his hands and let him make plays, which, I mean, DJ Moore, similar kind of guy, Roma Dunze. I mean, just get the ball in these guys' hands. Like I said, let them make plays.
Yeah, Luther Burden was the guy I was thinking of as well. Like you said, they got the weapons. I mean, Caleb's just got to get it to these guys. And so, with all that being said, who do you like in the game tonight?
All right. Well, I mean, we got a home puppy, like you said, and if last night was any indication, you know, the home puppies are 1-0 in prime time. But this is essentially a pick 'em game. I think that both these teams have a lot of potential to be very good. Um, my favorite play, honestly, is gotta be, I mean, the over. I think that the line is at 43 and a half right now. I think the over is very live. As far as a winner, though, I believe in this Ben Johnson offense, and I believe that Caleb Williams is going to take that next step with Ben Johnson's system. And so I think the Bears, it's ultimately going to come down to, they're just going to outscore this Minnesota offense, and that's going to be my pick. I got to go with Chicago.
Yep, and I'm right there with you, my friend. And I know how it's not just because it's the home puppy trend, but I like Chicago. I think Ben Johnson, he's going to have success against the Brian Flores defense. I want to see Caleb Williams take that next step. Like you said, they got the weapons. They're at home, opening night. A lot of hype around this team. It would be the perfect Chicago Bears thing to do, though, to just go out there and lay an
And
egg
throw a stinker in front of
and
their
lose
home
by like
crowd.
2 touchdowns. Uh, that would not surprise me at all, honestly. But just the teams on paper, I like the matchup. Also, interesting note here. If I had to say something on the total, I do like the over, obviously, with all the offense you were talking about. It's pretty low. But we talked about how there were all these divisional games in week one. 6-1 to the under in these divisional
Yeah.
games in week one. The only
Yeah,
game
I,
that went
I I
over
did
was,
see a note that the unders have been smacking
yeah,
throughout the entirety of week one.
the only game that went over was that Chargers Chiefs game. So, and it's also two QBs who Caleb Williams, new offense, second year quarterback, McCarthy, second year, but first game. So I don't know. I don't think I'm going to touch the total personally, but my pick is the Chicago Bears.
All right. Hey, I love to hear it. We're on the same page finally. I mean, I feel like we've been the three primetime games we've had this year. We've been on the opposite sides. We were 0 and 3. We're finally on the same page, and we're rocking with the Bears.
I like that. Wait, I have one question for you. Who's your touchdown scorer in prime time tonight?
I mean, I'm rocking with DeAndre Swift. I think DeAndre Swift sees the end zone, and whether it's on the ground or, a little screen from, inside the red zone, whatever. DeAndre Swift is finding that end zone today.
Yeah, I do really like that. I actually do think Swift is finding the end zone. We know they want to run the ball. Maybe a shot on Kyle Monungai. He's like plus 400. I think he's going to be their backup tonight, and he's a bigger back, so maybe inside the five he gets a carry or something. But I'm going to take a flyer on. I'm going to take a flyer on Rome. Why not? I'm going to take a flyer on Rome. And
Hey,
it's
there's a lot of hype around Rome this year.
exactly. There's a lot of hype. I think he'll have a favorable matchup on the outside, and let's see if Rome can get a touchdown pass from or a touchdown catch from Caleb Williams tonight. Let's go Bears, baby.
Duh, Bears! All right. Well, that's going to wrap up this Monday night episode. We appreciate y'all tuning in and y'all that have been tuning in throughout all these week one videos. We've been grinding, trying to pump the content out. So, really appreciate all your guys' support. Leave a like if you enjoy and subscribe if you look forward to seeing more. We got a week one review episode that we got coming out, and then we're jumping right around to week two. And if, like I said earlier, if week one is any indication, week two should be just as good, if not better.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, my friend. Happy to be here and excited to talk about football all year with you. Let's do it.
Let's do it, baby. All right. Appreciate y'all as always. We're signing off. Peace.
Peace.